Hello YouTubers! I will be going through this week's games, review last week's tips and leaderboard of our footy tip comp, and also go through my Brownlow votes for season 2025. In top spot with 5 votes is Amon Hawthorn, and in second spot with lots of players on 3 votes as it's early season, which consists of W. Day, Hawthorn, F. Callaghan, GWS, J. Ross, Richmond, B. Smith, Geelong, J. Dunkley, Brisbane Lions, and there were so many players on 3 votes as it's the round of season 2025. My round 1 tips, I only got 5 correct. I got Hawthorn, Geelong, the Lions, Collingwood and the Crows, whereas I got the other 4 games incorrect. No good. 5 out of 9. See how I went in my Talking Everything AFL tipping comp. Let's see. In top spot with 9 votes is Patrick L32, and in second spot is Podat1 with 8 votes. There are 3 players on 7 votes that include Red Dead Redemption, Daddy Shin, and I Am Hacks. Then you have me in 6th spot with 6 votes, also with Haddons. See how I go for next week. Let's see what teams I will vote or tip for round 2. Here we go, come on. Before we continue, I would like to ask for a very small favour. If you enjoy this AFL content, please take a sec to subscribe to the channel and like the video. That would be awesome. Okay, let's return back to the show. The first game of the week is between Carlton and Hawthorn. Carlton were very disappointed and lost to Richmond last week. The Hawks continued their impressive winning streak and they beat Essendon on a Friday night. The players injured for the Blues are Carroll, Sincotta, Duffy, Durden, Fantasia, Hollands, Monahan, Newman, O'Farrell, Keith, Hicknott and Jagger Smith. The Hawks were missing Blanc, Butler, Deer, Lewis, Shimshaw and Wirepower. The players in the mix for the Blues are Kerner, Young, Carroll and White. The players in the mix for the Hawks are Gudson, Bruce and CJ. Where the battle of this game will be won at, it's Cowan's forward line. If you look at the Cowan forwards, assume that Kerner is back this week. You got Cottrell, Williams, McKay, Kerner, Kemp and Fogarty. That's Lachlan Fogarty. Against Hawthorn's defenders of Barras, Hardwick, D'Ambrosi, who can also play on the wing, Impey, Battle and Sicily. Hawthorn's 3 key defence of Barras, Sicily and Battle against Kemp, Kerner and McKay. Currently the Cowan forwards are struggling, and I expect those 3 key forwards of Cowan to struggle against that Hawthorn's defence. Those players are looking very impressive. And then you got Impey that can run off halfback, even Amon against Cowan's small forwards of Williams, Fogarty, Cottrell. And just looking on paper, I expect Cowan to struggle to score goals against Hawthorn's defence, and I'll tip Hawthorn to beat Carlton on a Thursday night. The second game of the week is between the Western Bulldogs and Collingwood. The Bulldogs had a good win over the Kangaroos by 21 points, and Collingwood smashed Port Adelaide Power by 91 points. What an absolutely smashing by the Magpies. Players injured for the Magpies are Harrison, Johnson, McRae, Markov, Mitchell and Smith. The Doggies will be missing many players, including gun players in Bontempelli, Jones, Johannesson, Treloar, Cleary, Garcia, Jags, Waitman and Scott. So many outs for the Doggies. The players in the mix for Collingwood are big one, DeGoey, then you got Allen, Frampton and Johnson. The players in the mix for the Doggies are Baker and Camus. Where the game will be won at, it's the midfield. The Doggies are missing 2 All-Australians from last year in the Bont and Treloar. How do you replace them? So let's compare the 2 midfields. For the Bulldogs, you got Tom English against Darcy Cameron. English, good tap ruckman and also contributes round around. Darcy Cameron is a good ruck hit out ruckman, but I give the chocolates just to English. Then this is where it takes shape. Sanders, second year player against Cripps, who's played 200 consecutive plus games. Cripps is a gun player. Sanders is still finding his feet in second year of AFL. I give the chocolates to Cripps over Sanders. Then you got Ed Richards, great left footer, decision maker against Nick Dacos, inside, outside, elite, top 10 player of the league right now. I'd give the chocolates to Dacos over Richards. Then in midfield, you got Tom Liberatore against Josh Dacos. Liber is a hard inside player. Dacos can find the ball inside, but is more outside player. So I just give the chocolates to Liber, but they both play different types of role. Then on the wings, you got Bailey Williams against Sidebottom. Williams, good decision maker, great elite disposal. Sidebottom, good experience head, also great decision maker. Say I give the chocolates just to Williams, as Sidebottom is a veteran but is still effective, and Williams was a former All-Australian player and is a good decision maker. Then you got Davidson, second gamer against Lipinski, former Bulldogs, Premiership player for the Mackies. Davidson finding his feet in the AFL just in his second game, and Lipinski has experience, and also the next Western Bulldogs player. So I just give the chocolates to Lipinski. Looking at the ruck midfield set paper, the Collingwood midfield looks too strong for the Western Bulldogs, and if they get enough inside 50, they're going to score a higher score, especially with De Goey playing as a forward midfield and a player that I didn't discuss, but who will be another rotation. And I'm going to tip Collingwood to beat the Western Bulldogs. The next game of the week is between Essendon and the LA Crows. Essendon lost to Hawthorn by 20 odd points. The Crows smashed St Kilda by 60 plus points and were very impressive. The players injured for the Bombers are Nick Cox, David Jr., Godfrey, Langford, Lavade, Parrish, Ridley, Sedfield, Vicente, and Peter Wright. For the Crows, they're just missing one player, Strawn. What a injury-free lineup that the Crows have. The players in the mix for the Bombers are Menzies, El Harry, and Edwards. For the Crows, their players in the mix are Bond, Murphy, and Murray, but you expect the Crows to go unchanged. Where the game will be won at, it's the Crows' full line. That's their strength. So many offensive weapons. If you compare the Crows forward to Essendon's defense, at centre forward, you got Riley Fulthorpe against Zach Reid. Zach Reid is a young player, and Fulthorpe, I'm expecting him to explode this season, kick 40 to 60 goals. He's been injured the last 2 years, but when he has played for the Crows, he averages 2 to 3 goals per game, and I expect Fulthorpe to dominate against Reid, especially at the big ground of the MCG. Then you got McKay against Fogarty. Fogarty provides a strong presence for the Crows in the full line and averages 2 goals a game. That'll be a good outcome for the Crows if Fogarty gets 2 goals against McKay. And then you got Taylor Walker against Jackson Pryor. I expect Walker to dominate against young Pryor, former Brisbane Lion player, now plays for the Bombers, and his dad used to play for the Bombers in the late 90s, early 2000s, Michael Pryor. And then you look at the Crows' small to medium forwards to the Essendon medium defenders. You got Ben Keys against Redmond. Redmond is an offensive running halfback. Ben Keys would play that defensive forward role where he's had games where he's kicked 2 lots of free goals against Cowden's Adam Sard as a defensive forward. Keys has history of playing good defensive forward tagging roles, and his job will be to stop Redmond's run. And if he can and also kick goals, that will cut Redmond out of the game. Then you got young superstar in the making, Rankin against McGrath. McGrath is a good solid defender, but Rankin is elite, is about to explode this season, and I reckon he'll be top 20 player in the AFL this season. So I'll give the chocolates to Rankin over McGrath. Then you got Alex Neil-Bullen against Ridley. Really good defensive player, but Neil-Bullen is a very wise head of a player, plays a bit midfield, can also play that defensive role up forward and kick goals. And the Crows' forward line looks good on paper, and that's excluding Joshua Shelley, who also kicked a couple goals last week. Based on this, I'm going to tip the Crows to beat the Bombers. The next game of the week is between Port Adelaide Power and Richmond. Port Adelaide were very ordinary against Collingwood and lost by 91 points last week, and Richmond had a magnificent win by Cowden, 11-point win over the Blues on a Thursday night. What a magnificent win, given that the Tigers were down by 40 odd points and they got a young team, but Lalo, last year's number 1 draft pick, played magnificent with 2 goals and 18 possessions. The players injured for the Power are Anastopoulos with ankle injury, Butters, Marshall and Zert Thatcher are all injured. For the Tigers, they'll be missing Blight, Clark, Fall, Kipkus, Houghton, Lafu, Lynch to suspension, Prestia, Ralston, Smiley and Tyler Young. What a large injury list that the Tigers have. The players in the mix for the Power are Rangalia, Soldo, Atkins and McEntee. For the Tigers, their players in the mix are Ryan, Smith and Rioli. Where the battle of the game will be won. Richmond last week had a high, magnificent win over the Blues. The Power, very disappointing. They've been smashed in the middle in South Australia and Victoria. I expect retribution from the Power. They're going to play with aggression and hard. It's the first game at home. And based on the negatives that the Power has received this week, I'm going to tip the Power to beat Richmond, a young team that's on the high. And can they make it 2 in a row? But I expect Port Adelaide to win. Court have been copying flack all week and I expect them to win this week. The next game of the week is between St Kilda and Geelong. St Kilda very disappointing and got smashed by the Pros by 60 odd points. Geelong had a magnificent win over Fremantle at home by 30 odd points. The players injured for the Saints are Butler, Dow, Henry, Howard, King, Owens, Philippou, Sharman and Tara. For the Cats, they'll be missing Buse, Bourne, Burt, Conway, Edwards, Guthrie, Hoffen, Ivansick, Kodatsky and Moya. The players in the mix for the Saints are Soccer, Keeler and Boxhill. For the Cats, their players in the mix are Closely, Duncan, Stanley. You just got experienced players in the mix. Where the battle will be won at, basically it's St Kilda's injury list. They've got players injured in an important position. Dougal Howard, centre half back, injured. Max King, full forward. Owen, centre half forward, injured. Even Sharman, young midfield gun, Philippou, injured. They're just decimated with injuries, given that the Saints are a young team and they don't have the depth and they've been building their team through the draft over a number of years. Just on paper and Geelong's experience and St Kilda's injuries, I'm going to tip Geelong to beat the Saints. The next game of the week is between Brisbane Lions and West Coast. Brisbane Lions had a magnificent away win over Sydney Swans by 2 points and they copped a number of injuries during that game. West Coast Eagles, what can I say? Very, very disappointing. Got smashed at home by Gold Coast Suns. What a good win for the Suns. The players injured for the Lions are Coleman, Dode, Lloyd, Lohman, McCarthy and Starcewicz. The Eagles will be missing Bazzo, Chester, Diagon, Jamison, Sheed, Waterman potentially, and Elliot Yeo. The players in the mix for the Lions are McLaughlin, Joyce and Day. The players in the mix for the Eagles are Patrick Kelly, Cole and Bailey William. Where the game will be won at, it's the midfield. You got McInerney in ruck against Finn. Finn, second year player on West Coast list from GWS, still finding his craft in AFL. McInerney, experienced veteran. I expect McInerney to dominate against Flynn. Then in midfield, you got Dunkley against Hutchinson. Dunkley, 2-time premiership player. Inside midfield, Hutchinson, young player. I expect Dunkley to dominate against Hutchinson. Then you got Lachlan Neal, 2-time Brownlow medalist against Harley Reid. Looks like he's going to be a future young gun. But last week, very disappointing against Suns, only had 8 possessions. Based on that form, I expect Neal to get the chocolates over Harley Reid. Then in midfield, you got Bailey against Kelly. Zach Bailey, speed, can go inside, outside. Kelly is more outside player with speed, so I just give the chocolates to Bailey as he can go inside as well. Then on the wings, you got Hunt against Fletcher of the Lions. Hunt is good outside with his running capability. Fletcher is more of a solid player that contributes to the team, and I give the chocolates to Fletcher as he'll contribute more to the team than Hunt's run and carry, as Hunt doesn't really get much possessions as I would like. Then on the other wing, you got Jared Berry against Hewitt. Hewitt is a young player for West Coast Eagles. Berry, premiership player, good on outside, kicks goals and good decision maker. I give the chocolates to Berry over Hewitt. Looking at the ruck midfield setup, I expect the Lions ruck midfield to dominate against the West Coast Eagles. And from this game, I expect the Lions to beat the West Coast Eagles. The second last game of the week is between North Melbourne Kangaroos and Melbourne Demons. North Melbourne lost to the Western Bulldogs by 20 points, and the Demons had a hurting loss where they were leading and the Giants kicked the last goal of the game, beat them in a close game. The players injured for the Kangaroos are Coleman, Combine, George, Goda, Lowe, Wardlaw and Archer out with suspension. For the Demons, they will be missing Carly, Johnson is suspended, Kenfield's out with illness, McAdam, McVeigh, Melsham, Moyes, Wakefield, Cosy Pickett, Fortstrup are all out injured. The players in the mix for the Kangaroos are Stevens, Marley and Teagle. For the Demons, their players in the mix, big one, Stephen May, was a late withdrawal last week, but he's in the mix for this week. Also, Billings and Campbell. Where the game will be won at, it's the midfield. In ruck, you got Xavier against Gawn. Xavier made the All-Australian squad, but Gawn, being one of the best ruckmans in the last 5 years, All-Australian ruckman, I give the chocolates to Gawn over Xavier. Then in midfield, you got Powell against Oliver. Powell can find between the ball, but Oliver can go inside, outside, is elite. I give the chocolates to Oliver over Tom Powell. Then you got Luke Parker against Trent Rivers. Parker is coming up to his veteran age, but is still a solid contributor for North Melbourne last week. Rivers, premiership player, can go inside and outside. Say it's even between those two midfielders. Then in centre, you got Davis Uniacke or LDU against Petrarca. LDU, inside, outside. So is Petrarca. However, Petrarca adds goal kicking to his CV. So I give the chocolates to Petrarca over LDU, but both pretty good players that I wouldn't mind having both in my team. Then on the wing, you got Finn O'Sullivan, second gamer against Ed Langman, premiership player who can just run all day on the wing. With the inexperience of O'Sullivan, I expect Langman to dominate. And then on the other wing, you got Captain Simpkin against Windsor. Simpkin, good player, good decision maker. Windsor can run all day, good elite disposer. I give the chocolates to Simpkin as his experience, good player as well. But just looking at the ruck midfield setup, the Demons midfield just looks too powerful for the Kangaroos. And based on the midfield, I'm going to tip Melbourne to beat North Melbourne Kangaroos. The last game of the week is between Fremantle Dockers and Sydney Swans. The Dockers were disappointing last week where they lost to Geelong away by 3 odd points, but Murphy Reid had an impressive debut with 4 goals. The Swans had a shattering 2-point loss home to the Brisbane Lions. The players injured for the Dockers are Darcy, Jones, Nichols, Simpson, Sturt, Switkowski, Walter and Hayden Young, big one out. For the Swans, they got plenty of players out. That consists of Adams, Andrew, Cunningham, Detowi, Fox, Francis, Gordon, Kirk, McDonald, McInerney, Melican, Mills and Snell. The Swans are missing so many good players that include their captain Mills, their centre-half forward Logan McDonald, gun midfield Gordon, McInerney, the defender who's out with suspension. Just so many good players out. Where the game will be won at, it's the Sydney Swans forward line. Looking at the Sydney Swans forward line, you got Amadi and McCartan as the 2 marking forwards, then Haywood as the third tall, with Jordan as a defensive forward and small forward of Papley and Campbell. Then you look at Fremantle's 3 key defenders. You got Ryan, Cox and Pearce. That's impressive defenders. And I expect those 3 key defenders of Freo to dominate against Amadi, McCartan and Haywood. And then you got the halfback or running halfback of Clark and Draper against Papley and Campbell. If those 2 Fremantle defenders get on the leash, Papley and Campbell will struggle as they've got to defend instead of going offensively. And just looking on paper, I don't know where Sydney are going to get the goals from. They'll need about 14 goals to at least win this game. So someone like Amadi or McCartan or even Papley will need to kick 4 to 5 goals. And at this stage, the Swans are just struggling at the moment, trying to settle in with their new coach. I'm going to tip Fremantle to give Sydney Swans the hee-ho. My tips for round 2 are Hawthorn to give Cowan the Blues, Collingwood to beat the Doggies, and this week they're named as Footscray, their old heritage name from the western suburbs of Victoria of Footscray. The Crows to beat the Dons, the Power to beat the Tigers, the Cats to beat the Saints, the Lions to beat the Eagles, the D's to beat the Kangas, and Freo to give Sydney the hee-ho. They are my round 2 tips. Thank you for watching my video, and it will be appreciated if you can subscribe and comment to my videos. Hopefully you enjoyed my video, and see you next time. Cheers or bye.